fatal heart impacts, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I back up my actions, fact don't ask, grab reactions, jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose, pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're discreet now. Get ready for defeat now.
And with the string of murders continuously spreading, we still do not believe the vigilante has been identified. In the last week, we have noticed a dramatic decrease in crime. This may be impartially not only due to pro heroes stepping up their efforts, but also because of a vigilante, who we believe is responsible for the murder of over 300 individuals. And because of that, police and pro heroes are joining forces to take this vigilante out. Now, we have made contact with individuals who do believe they know who the vigilante is, or they have a clue as to what his particular quirk might be, since it seems to be able to affect anything electrical. Alrighty, hello everybody. This is Kiru's show here, and now, whenever we last left off with this series, we had Izuku Midoriya and Tokoyami, his twin brother. Both these two ended up in a hospital after a home invasion gone wrong. And Izuku, he was on the lucky end, you could say. Tokoyami, he is currently recovering and going through physical therapy, so he'll be able to walk again soon. Meanwhile, you have Midoriya. A lot of the muscle in his shoulder where he was shot, right next to his neck, is still healing. Along with that, he suffered from a minor fracture in his skull and a couple broken ribs. Along with that, his entire right arm has been burned, along with a good portion of the right side of his back. Now, Midoriya was on his way to leave Japan. However, an individual was following him. Now, with that being said, what happened? We will be going over that now. Midoriya. This day today, it was very slow for train, or slow for the subway. Not a lot of people were going out today, and it was a dead hour. The trains and everything were still running. However, Midoriya, he was the only person at his stop to hop in on his car. Now, Midoriya was trying to think about it all. What can he do? He is either going to go to America or go to a different country. However, his idea about staying in Japan, it does, sort of get tossed around in his head. Light Shadow himself has been trying to talk to Midoriya. He kinda understands the whole needing to leave thing. He feels like he's been cooped up in a hospital, and the best way to get over that feeling would be to go somewhere else entirely, a change of scenery. Now, with that being said, Midoriya and Light Shadow would be talking in Midoriya's head. As a few hours, or let's just say 2 hours, would have gone by. After stopping at another stop, the train finally began to leave the city. And Midoriya, he would have noticed whenever a man would go from walking in from another train car into the one he's currently in. Now, Midoriya would notice this man. However, he doesn't pay any mind to him since he just walked in and sat down immediately to his right. Across from Midoriya, about 8 seats, or around 16, let's just say, The man does sit, and Midoriya doesn't pay attention. He just keeps to himself and continues to scroll on his phone. Midoriya is not paying attention, but Light Shadow is, and it has informed Midoriya about this strange-looking guy. After a few minutes, this man began to stare at Midoriya and look at him, along with even going to walk over and inspect the other car to see if anyone else was there. Surprise, surprise. Him and Midoriya are the only one in the car. And he did then take action, as you do have Midoriya who's sitting down. Hey kid. The Midoriya going to look up. Hi. You're Izuku Midoriya, aren't you? Yeah, I am. Why? Well, didn't your dad just die? My mother and my father, actually. I'd rather not talk about it if that's alright with you. Alright. You also had your home set on fire, right? Is that what happened to your hand? Yes, but I just told you I'd rather not talk about it. Now, Midoriya would turn his head up towards this person, and he does stare at them for a minute. He does not recognize their face. However, he does recognize the scar on their face. And their voice does sound similar. And exactly who are you? Surprised you don't know me. Now, the man would go to pull out a firearm. And he would then go to sit down across from Midoriya as he does hold it up, talking about how he could have swore he and his brother were dead. So you're the guy that killed my dad. You look like an ugly motherfucker. Watch it, kid. You really want those to be your last words? My last words? You know what? I've had just about enough of everything. I was just trying to leave. Get out of here. Take a break. You've pissed me off. Yeah, well, I'm on orders from my boss. Your boss? Really? And what exactly is your boss's name? Now, the man in front of Midoriya, he would just start going off with it. His boss is currently in jail. This is his name. This is what the crew they're in is called. The man is getting so cocky and so overconfident. He thinks he's already won. He remembers this kid's quirk, and the kid survived somehow. So he's going to make sure that the kid doesn't, by putting a few rounds in his head. And that should solve the problem. Anyways, kid, that's all I really know about it. Thank you. That's all I really needed. You sound confident, as if you're getting off this train alive. Maybe. Or maybe I just know how my quirk works. I've made a bit of a discovery, somewhat. Really? And what would that be? Now, Midoriya would just talk about how his quirk, he can use it to mimic someone's shadow. Now, the guy just stared at Midoriya, as he does go to jump forwards, shouting, "What?" As he does then go to try and spin around. Midoriya, completely bluffing, as he does go to lunge at the guy, him forming a gauntlet on his arm, and even asking Light Shadow for some backup. Now, Midoriya grabbed this guy, as he does go to grab him into a hole and try to grab his hand with the gun. Now, as this does happen, the guy does fire 2 shots, and Midoriya and the guy do struggle. Now, Midoriya and the guy are fighting back and forth, and the guy, he even does think about using his own quirk. It's a lot more similar to the boss, and that's why he's considered to be the right-hand man. Now, Eventually, the guy does toss Midoriya, who's still injured and recovering. As Midoriya, he did at least pull the magazine from the gun. The guy going to fire a bullet as Midoriya, he does go to throw up a wall made of light. Now, the bullet would hit this wall, as it does fall down to the ground. And Midoriya, he does actually then go to bring his hand up, as he does go to lunge upwards into the wall of light, as he does emerge covered in armor. And the guy does see Midoriya, as he does begin to start charging his hands full of lightning, and talking about how the kid's gonna die here. Now, the man would then go to zap Midoriya. As you do have Midoriya, he does go to bring up his right hand and try to block. Now, the moment the lightning does touch Midoriya, Midoriya's body goes haywire, as Light Shadow does try to take control, and he does lose his mind. Now, the moment this does happen, Midoriya discovers an ability to his quirk. Midoriya's quirk, the ability to absorb sunlight and energy from the sun. Due to Midoriya's traumatic experience, his quirk has undergone an evolution, and it is helping him survive. Midoriya is able to absorb the electricity from this attack, as Midoriya does go to throw up his right hand and it does elongate, as Midoriya does go to punch straight into the chest of this guy with claws, and then go to slam him into the wall. Now, as this does happen, Midoriya would watch on, surprised and somewhat horrified, as the guy does completely surround his body with electricity. And he does try to at least get Midoriya to absorb too much. And Midoriya would go haywire, as he absorbs the energy from this man. Then he starts to do it to the train car. And he does then do it to the rails the train is attached to, as Midoriya derails a train, and it does go smashing off of the tracks. Now, as this does happen, the train was relatively close to the countryside, and is just outside of a city. Now, you do actually then have Midoriya, who, him and the man, they were both inside the car whenever it tipped over, and flew into the forest because of the oncoming turn and speed of the vehicle. Now, Midoriya, he was able to survive. Light Shadow surrounded him in an entire ball of light, and it is large and massive, as it does burn through the cabin as it does go to roll out. And you do then have Midoriya, who he does ask Light Shadow about what happened. Hard to understand. We evolved. Evolved. Another mutation. We got stronger. I don't understand it myself. We absorb energy, and we can use it to power ourselves. What do you mean? Like a battery. We can hold a charge and keep ourselves at a higher level for time. Are you saying what I think you're saying? I think so. It's possible for us to be strong at nighttime, if we save up enough energy. I see. Now, Midoriya would go to walk over to this guy, who he does currently have a pole running through his leg. And Midoriya would bend down to see him. As Midoriya, he does go to bring his hand down and pull him up, as the man does barely seem to be conscious. And Midoriya would ask him, as his face is bloody, exactly if he's still awake. The man not even really giving a response. As Midoriya just think, shit. If they sent one of these guys after me, they sent one after Tokoyami. Fuck. Now, Midoriya, he's trying to think about all of it. he was just going to leave the country. If police find out what happened here today, he could get in trouble. He can get arrested, can't he? Technically, his quirk derailed a train. Shit, were there other people aboard? Fuck. Now, Midoriya would go to reach for the guy's wallet, find his identity, and at least try to find anything he can. As he does find a few notes in his pockets. And he even does take the gun he had. Now, Midoriya would then flee the scene. As roughly about 3 hours later, or let's just say 2.5, police have already arrived on scene. The train never made it to its destination. And a lot of people were confused and worried. It was off schedule as well. And there shouldn't have been anything to divert it off of its path. And they eventually did try to trace it back to its last known location. It was at A stop, and then it never made it to point B. So something happened along that route, and eventually the train was found. Now, it was found that there was a few casualties, and something strange may have happened in a car. There's a man with a gut wound and an injury to his leg. Along with that, there seems to be a hole burnt in the side of the subway car. So, exactly what happened here? As we do have Midoriya, who he has changed out of his bloody clothes. Now, Midoriya hates it, but he had to take off his pants and get rid of his shirt. His shirt had blood on it, and his pants, they got blood on them too. And Midoriya, he did at least have to root through his bag and get a, spare set. At least the shirt. He can walk around with the hospital pants for all day as long as he doesn't get suspected of being some runaway mental patient. So, Midoriya is trying to piece it all together, asking Light Shadow what he should do. Nobody knows I was on that train. But even then, everything this guy gave me, all the information, I can give it to the police, but they won't do anything about it. Hell. Then there's the fact they just killed that guy. Don't let it eat you too much, Zuko. You're right. The guy killed my dad. Yes, so where's the other one? That's a good question. The other one, though. They're under orders from their boss. I mean, yeah, I want to kill the guy. I really do. But at the same time, he's not the one responsible. He's just pulling the strings, isn't he? Either way, he helped them, didn't he? You got a point. For once, we are agreeing on something. So, are we doing that thing that people do when they don't want to work with heroes or villains? What are you talking about? Haven't you seen them before? What they're called? Are you talking about a vigilante? Yes. Are you going to be a vigilante, Izuku? Take down whoever you can and don't agree with? Or are you going to try and take over the world, be a villain, get revenge, kill anyone who stands in your path? As much as that would be good, I still want to be a hero. And that guy back there, that was an accident. An accident. Is that how you view it? Yes. I don't want to kill, but if I have to, I will in self-defense. Good answer. Then I'll help you all the way. And why the trust so suddenly? Because if you die, I die. I'm feeling pretty involved. Are you sure it's not just this new ability? It's also that. I'm curious to see how strong we can get. Now, Midoriya, he eventually does get somebody who does pull over and give him a ride back to the city. Midoriya hitchhiking all the way there, as whenever he does arrive, he does go to a place that he can rest his head, or a hotel room, close by a location he does need to head to. And Midoriya, he does kind of wonder, if he's going to be a vigilante, what is he really going to do? Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed, and have an amazing night. I'll catch you guys in the next part.